Yeah, right.
Well, usually I do the open, but it disappeared on me. Oh well. Um, it was there before. I had it all set up, and now it's gone. Oh well, these things happen. Welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, commercial free. Usually we have our Amazon ad, the links on the description of this podcast, and our ad for Tempest by Weatherflow, the weather station. The link is on the chat board. Link is also on the description to this podcast. Check them out. Shop on Amazon. We get some coin from them for sending you there. It doesn't cost you a cent. And if you decide to buy a weather station on Tempest, coupon code is use the link there and the coupon code winter 2026. Okie dokie. That's about as fast as I've ever done it.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Rayo, I don't know if you did this.
You mean take a look at the 18Z GFS for January 25th?
No, I wasn't going to ask. Actually, I'm going to bring the snow map up for that later because it's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's
Yes.
one of those hilarious maps that
Right.
that we'll never verify, but will find its way into the social media cesspool.
Oh, I'm
I
sure it
just
will.
I decided for tomorrow night when this front comes through that there's a chance that it could change over to a little wet snow before it ends, and it shouldn't amount to much. But the one thing that concerned me was that the temperatures dropped to like mid and upper 20s by morning. So if there is, I mean, and the front goes by and the precip is still hanging around at 1 or 2 a.m., maybe somebody gets the ground whitened, maybe somebody doesn't. But between that and whatever rain falls, with the temperatures dropping the way they are, maybe a Thursday morning could be a little slick in some places.
I over, and this is now empiricism. This is something that I've picked up, at least in my own personal opinions, over many years, and that is that there always seems to be that the cold fronts on these models are just a little bit too fast. And so what I'm thinking of is that if we do get a changeover, it probably would be 7, 8, 9 o'clock on Thursday morning, and it wouldn't amount really all to that much. Although I do agree that the drop in the temperature, if there is any kind of moisture, and there's going to be some spotty light showers around late tomorrow and tomorrow night and on into the early part of Thursday, that if the temperatures fall quick enough, we could have some icy spots on some, especially secondary roadways or some entrance and exit ramps. So, yeah, caution is advised, I think, for Thursday morning. I'm not looking for anything in terms of significant snowfall, but again, it's going to be a sudden blast of very cold. And temperatures on Thursday either will hold nearly steady through the day or they'll slowly fall from the low 30s into the upper 20s. And
Yeah.
the other thing about Thursday is that while it will start rather gray, I think, with some precip, be it rain, snow, or a changeover to ice on surfaces, that by midday and afternoon on Thursday, we should be looking at bright sunny skies. But there'll be a gusty wind, and temperatures again will be only in the 20s and low 30s. And so that wind will probably make it feel like it's in the teens. And so it's not going to be a very pleasant day to be out and about, I think, on Thursday.
I don't know who is the moderator tonight, but why are you blocking? I mean, the astute Reuben Fairchild said nothing offensive. In fact, it was quite complimentary. And by calling me all right, so he used the F word. By calling me a goat is a compliment. Goat means greatest of all time. And Reuben is astute, don't you think, Joe? Very observant.
Well, I can understand goat. I can tell you that when somebody called me a goat back in my broadcasting days, I took offense at that until my daughter had to
Yeah,
explain to me that goat means what you
yeah.
just said, greatest of all
Being
time.
called a goat is a good thing.
Yes.
So You can
However, if
you
he
can
did use
unblock
the
him.
if he did use the F word, however, that I would agree with Paul Roman. No profanity.
Okay. So all right, lose the profanity, but the goat part was fine. Okay. Um, but thank you. Both, we're skeptical, and it worked out this time around. Yes, goat is a good thing.
Also bomb.
Oh, the
Somebody
bomb.
somebody
You're the bomb.
somebody said you're the bomb. And again,
Yeah,
my daughter had to. If it weren't for my daughter, I would know nothing of the
I know, Joe. You and I come from
Generation Z.
right. I know you and I come from
Lexicon.
uh, you and I come from a generation that wants to bring back groovy.
Yeah.
So, so there you go.
All
Welcome
you have to
to
do is
all the
watch reruns of the old Patty Duke show, and you'll
right.
get a lot of that.
Yes. Welcome tonight to everybody on the chat board, and welcome to those of you who are lurking in the background on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. We're not here Friday and Saturday, so we could take a couple of days off and recharge. But if there were a storm around, we would add shows. So if you turn your notifications on and you're subscribed, you won't miss us. So subscribe, turn your notifications on so you won't miss us. And also, if you like tonight's show, by all means hit the like button. And we're still on course tomorrow night to have Adam Lucio, who's a storm chaser. Uh, he's going to be on tomorrow night. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the storm chasing world because there are some issues that have been coming up in the last few years and also with AI around. So it'll be, I think, a very interesting conversation. So we'll take it from there. So shall we move on to see what's going on tonight?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Actually, not much, especially from the standpoint of watches and warnings. Lake fronts in Michigan, off Lake Michigan, getting some lake effect snows there, and we have some winter weather advisories that are in effect. Also, the counties that border Lake Superior uh, under winter weather advisories, Northeast Ohio, Northwest PA, Southwest New York, North Central New York. These are the obligatory places that always have winter weather advisories around. Otherwise, the rest of the country is really kind of quiet. We've got some fog issues out in the west where the pattern is on the warm side and is going to remain so. And I also think, by the way, that, well, Joe, we're going to probably looking at the next couple of weeks, these cold air masses that are coming down are going to be cold. I mean, they're solid cold shots that are going to be coming down behind each of these cold fronts that moves through. We've got three of them over the next 6 days.
The shot that's coming down early next week. I said on my Facebook forecast for next Tuesday, I dropped the temperature maybe no higher than 20 or 21, a high temperature
Right.
with some sunshine for the lower Hudson Valley. That gives you an idea of how cold some of this air is. And it would make some sense because we're heading now toward the coldest part of the year. So,
Ah,
yeah, climatologically.
that's correct. And here's the surface map tonight. We have a low northeast of Lake Superior in Canada, 987-ish low, a couple of cold fronts with that, and those are going to be moving eastward. Southwest flow ahead of it, and we're warming up. Actually, after being down near 20 here this morning, we got up into the 50s, which was nice, and it's a rather warmish 41 here in North Georgia, while just a few hours ago in Atlanta it was in the low 60s. So it did warm up a good amount, and much of the South and on up into the plains, and going all the way up into the Dakotas at temperatures up into the 40s. You have to really go behind that second cold front into Canada to start looking at numbers that are in the teens and single digits, and a few below zero readings. And meanwhile, in the West, with the ridge building in the West, it's warm. The Rockies are warm, relatively speaking. I mean, the elevations aren't, but from the standpoint of cold, they have not seen any Arctic air masses coming down into the western states so far this winter. It's been rather tame from that standpoint. And here's the satellite loop tonight. all the action in that northern stream, and you can see the swirl there in southeastern Canada, the clouds that are kind of arcing back through the Ohio Valley, the two cold fronts, the upper trough, all swinging eastward, and then more energy that's in southwest Canada. But the southern part of the jet stream, Joe, remains pretty quiet, which is why, at least for the next week or so, we're not really going to see much when these weather systems come through in terms of precipitation amounts.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be too dry. Even as I speak to you now, if you look at the radar here in the New York metropolitan area, there are a few spots uh, north of New York City that are indicating, precip, but that's not reaching the ground. The air is just too dry. It will not allow that to get all the way down to the surface. Beginning tomorrow, let's say around late morning or early afternoon, there may be some spotty precip mainly north and west of the Interstate 84 corridor. And then tomorrow night, it'll be more widespread. Nothing heavy, nothing steady, just some light showers, which, as we just spoke about a few minutes ago at the onset of the show, or the top of the show, could very well change over to frozen precipitation by daybreak on Thursday as this next wave of colder air overspreads the region.
And when Joe mentioned the radar, I pulled it up on the screen, and if you look at the shape of the structure of the echoes and the signature on the radar, and you match it up with the surface map, I mean, it kind of matches up pretty well. The stuff that's in New York State and over on the Canada side of the lakes, running ahead of the main cold frontal boundary, and the second boundary behind it is what you see with some of those clouds back through Wisconsin and Minnesota that are dropping southeastward. It's very interesting how the upper flow is pretty much functioning as one unit from one end of Canada to the other. Usually, sometimes you see separate systems and they're sort of all doing their own thing. But this is sort of one very broad, almost like a bowl of a jet stream that is running from northwest to southeast, and that is the main driver going ahead. We've got a few showers that are breaking out in southeast Texas and southwest Louisiana, and also along the coastal bend of Texas. And the west is it's been a while since we've seen every western state with nothing going on. And this is what we have. The whole west is just basically quiet and forecast to remain that way for the next 7 days as far as precip is concerned. Hardly any in the Rockies, in the on the west coast, and down into the plains. I mean, just really bone dry and not much, except for the areas around the Great Lakes where they're going to have some lake effect. Everybody else is in the range of either a few hundredths or maybe in some places areas of a quarter of an inch in north central PA and parts of the middle and upper Hudson Valley, and also extending into parts of central New Hampshire and Vermont. But I mean, for usually, if there's at least one storm or system around that's going to produce over the during a 7 day period that you see precip here. So it's kind of unusual to see it as dry as WPC is indicating in their forecast. All right, so that's the GFS. This is This is Saturday night, January 24th. Okay. Which we know is not going to be there on the next run, but no matter. Let's go first things first. First off, I just want to bring the upper air, and this is ridge in the west, trough in the east. That is really the ruling pattern, and it only becomes more cross-polar as we go through the weekend and into next week. Uh, just that Hudson Bay low is just sitting there, spinning around. You've got blockiness all up in northern Canada and the Arctic region. Colder air masses are going to be displaced southward. The one change, we talked about this yesterday, after around the 20th, the 19th or the 20th, the southern jet, the Pacific jet actually starts to get involved. And today's model runs on both models show this, and you can see the GFS bringing in something into Southern California and riding it eastward, and the main trough position is going to be in the east. So maybe things will get interesting during the last 10 days of the month. and we just have to get through the next. For snow lovers, need to sort of be patient and get through the next 7. But aside from that, this is a cold upper air setup that we're seeing across North America, Joe.
No question about it. And as I said last night, to those who were already, and once again, throwing in the towel on winter and saying that's it, it's going to be another winter of disappointment. As I said last night, I used the metaphor or the analogy of a meteorological game of poker, and the dealer has the cards and he's shuffling them, and each time he shuffles and tosses out cards to each player, they're different. It is certainly this year a much different type of winter as opposed to the last 3 or 4 when we would look at the winter season, let's say 2-3 years ago, mid-January, and just throw up our arms and say that's it, it's all over, or there's no sign of any kind of change coming that would lead to cold or wintry conditions or snow for those who care for that way. But this is a different story. This is a much different winter.
Well, and we've noted since the fall because it was a much different type of fall. So
Right,
we knew it was going to, we knew the winter was going to set up much differently than it has. Absolutely correct.
right, right. And we could, even though so far for snow lover, I mean, December wasn't bad if you're a snow lover here in the tri-state area. Now January has not, and you know what it was or is, it's the disappointment, the big buildup from late last week that something major was going to happen
Yeah.
at the end of this week, and now
Well, it
people are
also
saying,
it,
"Oh,
it also doesn't help that we now function in that social. I've been calling it the social media cesspool, and it's unfortunate because they're cherry picking maps, snow maps, and throwing them out there
right,
as if they were gospel, even though they say it's not a forecast, and I always come back and say, what I say, which is if it's not a forecast, then why are you putting it up there? I mean, we know why you're putting it up there, but uh, yeah, it just sort of magnifies it even more because everything is a cataclysmic event, even if it isn't. And your voice, those of you who are trying to voice this those of us that are trying to voice this in a manner that's reasonable and realistic, our voices are, you can't hear them because our stuff is not getting out there. The stuff that's predicting the end of the world as we know it is getting out there. So
right."
it's sad, and unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. So
It's
what?
it's amazing when you have the power, when you have the ability of being able to make waves, so to speak. I remember the news director at WPAT here in New York, the wonderful and late Debbie Sheehan, and she once said to me, he said, "People listen when you talk about astronomy. You have no idea how many people are listening to you or hanging on to your every word or whatever." He said, "You realize that if you were to go on the air right now and say at a certain time tonight the moon was going to explode, you know how many people would listen and would be outside waiting to see the moon explode? Some people, and there are people who have that power to just know better and not do anything or say anything. Some, and now using the situation in regard to long-term forecasts, they see a map like what we have for January 25th on the 18Z GFS, and immediately start posting on social media what is to come in the days to come or whatever, just to rile people up. And we're not like that, Joe. We never were like that. It's
No,
that's not the way to play the game. And the person, by the way, who pointed this out to me, I don't look usually at the 18 or 6Z intermediate runs, but it was our mutual friend Pete Bergman who said, I've got to drive from Long Island to Pittsburgh, January 23rd to January 25th, and I just saw the GFS. He said, I hope that this is just an aberration. And I wrote back to him, I said, you know as well as I it's an aberration. You know that's what the 18Z run spit out this afternoon. But I mark my word, you go and check the GFS with a 0Z run tonight, and that 18 to 25-inch atrocity will be
Right. Yeah,
completely
the
and totally
specifics
gone.
are, yeah, you don't look at the specifics really. You always look at the general. The only thing I will say is that I've got the European ensembles here up of the upper air, and it's not often that you see deep blue out 2 weeks ahead of time. But
Yes,
it just goes to show you how strong the trough and how deep the trough in the eastern part of the United States is going to be, and how strong the cross polar flow is going to be for those last days in those last 10 days or so in January. In fact, on the European weeklies for the temperatures, this is the week of January next week, the 19th to the 26th. You can see all the below normal all over the place. And that includes, probably the darker blues would be much below normal, covering the Northeast, the Great Lakes, and in particular the Northern Lakes and on the Canada side. So this is cold stuff. And again, that's the 19th to the 26th, and then from the 26th to the 2nd, we've got pretty much everybody east of the Rockies below normal in terms of temperature. So we got to, the models are certainly pointing to the idea that we're going to have two very cold weeks coming up. And if I go out one more week, the 2nd to the 9th, this is where it starts to moderate a little bit, but still more of the above normals in the west and only near normal in the east, which you kind of would expect it to be. You're not going to hold on to below normal nonstop. But certainly from the standpoint of the European, by the way, the GFS ensembles as well, when you go out, um, further out, same thing. I mean, this is the GFS. I mean, it matches up almost perfectly with the European. The other thing I would just say is that with a situation like this, if the Pacific is going to open up, and it does seem like it is, that's going to change the flavor of the pattern. I think what the models are showing us is that, we mentioned this last night, that we're going to get out of this northwest flow. These disturbances coming down in the northwest flow, and virtually nothing or very weak systems in the southern stream, and start seeing things that are going to be rolling along, uh, coming from the Pacific and riding along the southern part of the jet stream. And here's where the GFS on the last couple of runs getting this idea. The European also to some extent doing the same thing where it has some southern energy getting involved in there. So it's going to be a little different, and maybe it sets up for some overrunning situations, which I think what the models are signaling. The When you look at the European, just a side by side comparison in the longer term, well, for the short term, we've got this mess for tomorrow. I mean, and it really is a mess. The northern energy goes up into Canada. The southern energy gets spit out to the east. We're sort of stuck in the middle. Little wave development there in northern Pennsylvania. Maybe there's a stick of precip extending southward. Maybe there isn't. And then out it goes. A quick cold shot pulls out, but then the next front is already on the doorstep on Saturday. And there's a little, the European picks up on something in the south that kind of gets pulled up. I don't know how real that is. And it could even very well be rain. Who knows? But that goes out with colder shot behind it. And then here comes maybe more of a mother load with a high from Western Canada Monday and Tuesday that begins to drop southeastward with one more cold front that's probably going to come through either late Monday or on Tuesday. So things seem to be moving along. We certainly have the cold part of the weather pattern delivering. Now it's a question of getting the stormy part. And here's the Europeans got stuff trying to come out of the west. It has it more to the north than the GFS has, but it's got the idea that it's going to get a little busier. And this was the 18Z today, which it's I just have fun with when it does stuff like this, um, where it's got a wave and a lot of cold air to the north, just kind of forcing it to go eastward and off the Mid Atlantic coast. I guess like we both said, it'll be gone. But you hear the snow amounts. Are you sitting back for these? Are you ready? Write them
yes.
down because you know they're going to happen. First off, what I have up here is for the next 5 days. So this actually takes us through 7 p.m. Sunday. So, there is snowfall to be considered up in the snow belts, obviously, also in the Central Appalachians. But I brought this up because the 0.6 dot is for me. 0.6 of an inch of snow, maybe tomorrow night into Thursday morning. And I don't have to drive too far if the model verifies. The Western Carolina mountains could do pretty well in these sorts of situations. So you get these areas that get like 5 to 8 or 6 to 10 or whatever, and the GFS is kind of trying to show that for a little, some of that for Thursday and then some of that for Sunday. So there's that. And then with respect to the other stuff, we'll go to the 300, the whole 16-day total snow amounts. So here we go. You ready, Joe?
Oh, sure.
Whoops. So I don't know where that is in Somerset County, but that's 29.3. Allentown 30.6. Philadelphia 22, 20.7. 13.6 for New York City, 9 for Islip, 26.5 for Bridgeport, Joe, 23 for White Plains. And then let's move to Southern Ohio. What is that? I don't know what the point is there in Northern West Virginia, 49.2, not too far from Pittsburgh, 45.4. These are 16-day snowfall forecasts from the GFS. So you basically have a bad...
The 49.2 might be Wheeling.
Oh, Wheeling? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Wheeling, West
Well,
Virginia.
let's write it down. That 39 is probably close to Louisville.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just, you can't help but not, you got to laugh when you see this sort of stuff. Okay.
Actually, the 39 is near Cincinnati.
Is it Cincinnati?
Yeah. Well, clear on over to Cincinnati.
Wait, Cincinnati borders. Well, no, Cincinnati doesn't border Indiana, does it? No.
No, Cincinnati is in the far southwest corner of Ohio, and near the border of Kentucky and Indiana and Ohio. That's where Cincinnati is.
I thought that's where near Louisville was.
No, Louisville is further. I think Louisville.
No, but wait a second. When I drove down for my daughters, and when she was in Ohio, I never got anywhere close to northern Kentucky. I was in eastern Kentucky. I went right through Cincinnati. Okay, hold on a second. Let's see.
I'm telling you, just Cincinnati is right where it's almost at the point where the three states meet. Ohio and Indiana and West Virginia.
Wait, hold on.
Louisville
is southwest of there. Yeah, I see
southwest,
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. The head of my geography. I lost my head there for a moment. Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. You are correct. You were the last correct questioner. Please select.
I've been to Louisville. I've never been to Cincinnati.
I've been to Cincinnati. I've never been to Louisville.
Well, there you go.
So maybe we should meet halfway in Lexington. I actually do want to go to Lexington. I want to go to Keeneland. I've been saying it for years. I want to go to Keeneland. One of these years, I'm going to get in the truck and go for the spring meet for the horse racing. One of these years, I'm gonna get to do it.
I was in Louisville for a weather convention. I don't know, it was an AMS or an NWA convention. I don't remember, but I do remember that one of the attendees, right down the road from where we were, our hotel, was the Louisville Slugger Bat Company, and he went down there to get a bat for his nephew, an official Louisville Slugger, Hillrich and Brasby, I think was the name of the stamped on the bat. And he was told at the airport, you can't bring the bat with you to the airport. It's like a weapon. You have to ship. And he said, so I could have done that when I was at the bat company. I thought I'd bring it home with me, but he wasn't allowed to the bat onto the plane.
They were not unreal. Oh, I do have some breaking news. You remind me. I have some breaking news. I got a message from La Goodman today. The implementation of the RRFS and the REFS version 1, these are two new models that are coming later this spring, will trigger some significant changes to other model data. When they are implemented, the following model sets will sunset and go away. Are you ready?
Not the NAM.
The 12-kilometer NAM,
Oh no.
the 3-kilometer NAM,
Oh.
the high res windows. I don't know what that is. The HREF, and are you? This brings tears to my eyes, Joe. Tears to my eyes. Le plumes are going away. The
They're going
SREF,
away. Oh
the
no.
SREF is going away. We are no longer going to have le plumes. Not that we get to use them very often, but yeah, those are going. The HRRR is not going away, but Bill said he's unhappy about using the 3-kilometer NAM. Actually, the 3-kilometer NAM has been really good in these situations when there's convection. And even in these wintertime systems that we've had, the 3 kilometers has been really good because we've been dealing with these snow squalls that have been coming through from time to
Joe,
time.
do you realize something for, you and I, for good old fashioned forecasters, who still use it? The foos is going away.
I know
No
that's
more.
yes. That's not. I'm not happy. I am
Oh,
not happy. And I used to love there was the Texas A&M weather website, um, and then they changed the link, and I never could find it again. But it was great because you could put in any point. They had a menu, and you could just put any three-letter airport in there, and it would give you the interpolated Foos and Moss. It would give you the Moss for that, which was the old tabular data for the GFS. But it would take it would give you a tabulated Foos for say you wanted something for White Plains. It would give it to you for White Plains. You just put HPN in there, and it would figure out, the precip that would be for White Plains, the boundary winds, the boundary level temps, and all the rest of it. But it stopped working for a while, and then I couldn't find it anymore. So
there is something online that you could go to, spot weather, where you can literally you talk about extrapolation or interpolation of localities or whatever. You could use spot weather. You could have it right at your house, and it will calculate, again, based upon, other areas, first line sites. You can have it calculate what the temperature and what the cloud conditions or whatever are going to be at your location, and it gives you that option for a number of different models, like the GFS, and just as an example. I remember for the solar eclipse I was up in Plattsburgh last year, April of 2024, and a number of people knew who I was and said, "Ooh, so what's the weather, Joe? What does it look like for the big show this afternoon?" And I said 100% overcast, and you could see the faces fall everywhere. 100% overcast. I said, yes, the sky will be filled with cloud cover at 26,000 feet. And it didn't bother me because I knew, and you also would know, clouds at 26,000 feet, cirriform clouds, you could barely see them at that
yeah,
altitude.
pretty
It
thin.
might provide you with a halo, and it did actually provide it, but we clearly were able to watch the eclipse through that cloud cover. But that was given to me by Spot Weather, and I think Spot Weather is a site that a lot of people should check up on. It's an
Well,
interesting
you
site.
know what? I think I should check up on it too. So I will do that.
There's another site called Windy.com.
Windy, I've seen.
Yeah,
I've seen.
so
Definitely
all
will
kinds of
check that
stuff you
out.
can go to. It's
Well,
amazing.
that on that note, let's go to Briller Jeopardy. I think we're on 100 like watch right now. Might be getting very close, Joe. They said 99.
Yes,
Scalera says ring the bell, so he sees 100.
101 actually.
Oh,
So there
very
you go.
good. Thank you for those of you who hit the like button. Well,
Harold
let's hope.
Olson was Harold Olson was Morgan's department store. Has nothing to do with weather, but he just asked a question on the chat board, and he wanted to know what the name of the place was that was going to redecorate the Crandon's apartment for free.
Right, Morgan's.
Hard Mike Love. That was the name of the episode. Anyway,
Yes. Okay, shoot. What do we
and so
do?
now I believe I'm the one with the Briller Jeopardy tonight.
You have it. Yes, you do. Thank you, Scott Briller,
Okay.
for sending it.
Okay. Let me get it. Let me pick it up, and we will have it in just a very few moments. And here it is. And on tonight's Briller Jeopardy, if I could skew down to where it is, here it is. Briller Jeopardy average snowfall in January for the following 5 cities. And we'll start with Philadelphia.
For January?
Philadelphia, average January snowfall, Joe.
Well, New York is 9. So Philly's going to be. Baltimore, I think, is 6. For Philly, I'll say 7.
Ring that bell for Joe Cioffi. 7.
Da, 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 da.
Rich Rothmansky also had 7. How about the place where apparently Aaron Rodgers' career ended last night? Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. I got to think it's double digits, so I will say 13.
Oh my God, Joe. There you go.
2 for 2.
2 for 2. It's almost like remember they had that game on Price is Right where you pick the number price of the car, and then Bob Barker would say, each time you get something right, the car horn will honk.
Right.
You would have gotten 2 honks by now,
Well,
Joe.
and now also, if it was the mountain climber, I wouldn't have moved. So
That's right.
They wouldn't even have yodeled yet.
Yes. How about Providence, Rhode Island? TF Green International Airport.
And it's in one of these funny places. You ever look at the climatology? It's in a place where it usually gets more. But if you look at the climatology for southern New England, and it shows you the snow, there's like a hole. There's this hole where it's significantly less. It goes up, goes down, and then goes up again. I will say for Providence, if New York City is 9 and Boston's like 14, I think, or 15, I don't know. I'll say 10.
Honk, honk.
Oh my
honk.
God, 3 for 3 tonight.
3
I'm just letting
Joe,
everybody play.
You know what you're doing, Joe? You're pitching a perfect game now.
Yeah, well, it's 3 for 3. I'm happy with 3 for 3. I'm not going to get all 5. That would be insane.
Well, we'll see. How about Richmond, Virginia?
Oh, see, this is where you're gonna lose. I'm gonna get lost. And Dave pointed out that the office in Richmond that measures the snow was measuring it basically on top of the doormat outside the front door under a tree. So I'm thinking it's not a high number. So I'll say 3.
Oh, Joe. Oh, so close.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, snake country with your 3.
So it's either 2 or 4.
Well, DKNC Jets got it with 4.
4.
And Tyler Fenga, 4. And Michael McGuire, 4. And William Huber, 4. So close, but yet so far, Joe. How about Rochester?
I would have gotten the yo. The yodeler would have got yo.
Rochester, New York, boss.
Oh God.
Oh, Rochester.
For January.
For January.
I'll say 25.
Not bad. Oh, goodness gracious. Just a little bit too low, but only a little.
I was going to say 27, but then I backed away.
Well, you shouldn't have backed away, because if you didn't back away, You would have made it 4 out of 5, but it was
Yeah,
27.
27.
Tyler Finger, 27. And here's the bonus. The bonus tonight, City, is State College,
Oh, hmm.
home of AccuWeather.
I don't know what is it in a valley? Is it an elevation over there? I've never been to State College, so I have no idea.
My, I suspect it's close to Williamsport.
16?
Is that your guess? 16?
That'll be my guess. 16.
16, too much, too high.
Too high.
Rich
Uh,
Rothmansky, you have a question mark after your 11. Take away the question mark, and you're right. Give
it's
you a bell
11.
ring for that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. I mean, I've driven through Pennsylvania a long way, and it's long. Okay.
Yes.
Um, so you're going through mountain and valley. So I really didn't know the topography very well as to where exactly State College is. So
Yeah.
um, anyway, all right. Well, I did pretty good tonight.
Oh, you did very good.
I only missed by a
Excellent.
total of 3. So the yodeler did yo.
And you said Pennsylvania's long, so is Long Island. Danged
That's
if it
true.
ain't.
Yeah, but Pennsylvania, it's like you start on one end and it's a 300-mile.
Yeah,
It's as wide as Virginia is wide when you go from up 81,
right.
and you basically have to go from exit 1 to exit 317, and it's like, oh my God, does this ever end? Will I ever get out of the state of Virginia? And I've done it enough times. Uh, but
And
anyhow,
Pete Bergman is, as I said at the start of the show, 23rd through the 25th. I know he's watching. He's a lurker. But Pete is going to be driving to Pittsburgh. I believe his granddaughter is going to be a pharmacist.
oh,
She's going to get a
nice.
degree in pharmacy. So in Pittsburgh. So he's going to make that drive, and that's why he touched base with me today, saying, "What do you think about that thing the GFS is showing for January 25th?" And I laughed. We'll see.
Uh,
We'll see.
Chuck
It's all going
Cardillo.
to be gone tonight, Joe.
Chuck Cardillo says I did really well. I won both showcases. Oh God. Well, all right. I
And
think
by
we
the way,
can,
if you have a Game Show Network,
which I
I
do.
believe
I
you
have
can you
two,
can watch.
Joe. I have two Price is Right channels that show the Price is Right reruns. One of them shows the Bob Barker ones. The other one shows um what's his name? What the host of
You
Right,
Drew Carey.
Drew Carey. But I have a channel that's all it is, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's old Prices Rights with Bob Barker.
I wish they would show the syndicated ones that used to be on Saturday night with Dennis
Dennis
James. Remember
James,
Dennis
yeah.
James? And also Tom Kennedy briefly
Yes.
was a host of The Price is Right.
Jeff Yinks, Joe, hits the tip jar. Thank you, Jeff. Keep up the good work, Joe and Joe. Love the weather's lives. Hopefully, big storms come our way eventually for PA. Well, one of these days, it's got to happen.
It
And
will.
by the way, a reminder, folks, tomorrow, barring any last minute surprises, Storm Chaser Adam Lucio is going to be on the show, and we're going to talk a lot about the state of storm chasing these days, because it is getting complicated. And it'll be a very interesting topic. Plus, we'll do our regular weather coverage. And so if you've got storm chaser questions, formulate them and have them ready for tomorrow when he is here. So, time to say goodnight, Mr. Rayo. Another show in the can.
Yes, sir. And we'll see you tomorrow,
See you
7:35.
tomorrow. Bye,
Yep.
bye, bye, everybody.
Thank you for all the likes.